For years, China has been the invisible engine of the global pet food market, manufacturing behind the scenes. But that's all changing. Chinese brands now want to step into the spotlight. So what's their playbook for going global? Let's break down the massive opportunities and the very real hurdles they're up against.
Now, everything we're about to dive into is pulled from a fantastic insight report from February 2026 by EO Intelligence. This means we've got a solid, data-driven look at what's really happening in the market.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the export boom itself, then we'll zero in on the top markets and some surprising rising stars. From there, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of key countries, tackle the 4 major hurdles, and wrap it all up with 3 huge strategic takeaways.
Okay, first things first. Let's just try to get our heads around the sheer scale of this opportunity. Just how big is China's pet food export market and, where's it headed?
The big story here, it's all about growth. Now, it hasn't been a perfectly smooth ride. There have been some ups and downs, but that volatility doesn't really hide the powerful upward trend we're seeing. This is a big deal, signaling a major shift in the global pet food game. And this slide really tells the story, doesn't it? I mean, just look at that jump, peaking at nearly $15 billion in 2024. And yet, there was a little dip in 2025, but the market is still way bigger than it was just a few years ago. We're not talking about a small niche here. This is a massive, multi-billion-dollar export machine. So, you've got this nearly $15 billion market. The next logical question is, where is all this pet food actually going? Well, the answer is a really interesting mix of the usual suspects and some seriously surprising new players. On the surface, no huge shocks here, right? Developed countries with really mature pet care markets, Germany, the US, the UK, they're still the biggest customers. They're the steady, high-volume foundation of the business today. But, and this is important, this is only half the story. And this is where it gets really exciting. I mean, look at these numbers. Cambodia's imports shot up by almost 2,300% in just 1 year. These emerging markets are showing absolutely explosive growth. This points to a seismic shift, telling us exactly where the next big wave of opportunity is.
Okay, so here's the crucial point. You just can't treat a market like Germany the same way you treat Cambodia. Success, it turns out, is all about understanding the unique rules, the local regulations, and the key buyers in each and every market. It's a really complex puzzle.
This slide just nails the challenge perfectly. In the US, it's a maze of the FDA, the USDA, and really strict ingredient standards from groups like AFCO. But then you jump over to Indonesia, and it's a whole different ballgame. The concerns are religious and administrative. You need Halal certification. A one-size-fits-all approach is just a recipe for disaster.
And hey, take a look at who's writing the checks. These aren't small-time operations. In the US, you have companies like Smucker spending nearly $90 million. Over in Vietnam, it's Shanglong Biotech at $33 million. Locking down these huge relationships is absolutely the key to getting in the door. Okay. We've seen the incredible opportunity. Now it's time for a little reality check. It's not as easy as just packing a box and shipping it overseas. Chinese brands are facing 4 pretty significant and interconnected hurdles on their path to global success. You can basically break down these obstacles into 4 key areas. First, brand recognition. I mean, how do you build trust from zero? Second, channel power. How do you actually get your product on the shelf? Third is market adaptation. And finally, there's the talent gap, finding the right people to make it all work. Let's dig into that first one. This first hurdle is probably the biggest. For decades, Chinese factories were that invisible engine, right? Making pet food for other companies. So now, as they try to sell under their own name, they're starting from scratch. They have to build consumer trust against global giants who've spent billions and billions on branding for decades. It's a tough fight. So you've got this massive brand recognition hurdle, plus similar challenges in getting distribution, adapting products, hiring talent. You get the picture. So with this incredible growth on one side and these tough hurdles on the other, what's the smartest path forward? Let's get to the most critical strategic takeaways.
When you boil it all down, all the market data, the regulations, the challenges, it really comes down to 3 clear, powerful actions for any brand that seriously wants to win on the world stage.
First off, the data is just screaming this loud and clear. It might be tempting to go fight for a tiny slice of the pie in the US or Germany, but the real opportunity for insane growth is in places like Southeast Asia and South America. The competition isn't as dug in, and these markets are hungry for new choices. Second, and this one is completely non-negotiable, paperwork is power. You have to invest the time and money to become an expert on the local rules. Whether it's FDA lists or Halal certification in Indonesia, compliance isn't just a box you check. It's literally the key that unlocks the entire market. There are no shortcuts here.
And finally, this is the end game. The only way to truly build a sustainable international business is to escape that trap of just being a low-cost manufacturer. The ultimate goal has to be investing in and building a brand that people actually recognize, that they trust, and that they'll choose over the competition.
So, the opportunity is absolutely immense, and the path forward, while definitely challenging, is clear. The global market is ready and waiting for new players. The only question left is for the leaders of these companies: are you ready to step up and claim your share?